Hey, folks, just a friendly reminder that all shows on the Madness Comic Network are produced by their individual hosts and in no way reflect the opinions of the network as a whole.
Flip City Magazine is just really pulling out all the stops, man. Your guys' production value of this magazine has gone insane. I mean, look at that. I mean, I remember when you guys, it was black and white. Even when it was black and white, I thought your quality was great. But damn, they have just, I mean, they just really stepping it up a notch. Look at this. James Corbett, boys. James Corbett.
Genuinely cutting. But also funny, and obviously just chaotic and very fun.
I love Flip City. It has brought new types of badassery and integrity to the print medium.
Glamorized and embraced by Hollywood, feared in the underworld, Benjamin Bugsy Siegel was one of the most powerful men in America. He was also one of the most hated. The man who gave birth to Las Vegas was gunned down in the luxurious home of his glamorous lover. Almost 80 years later, his murder remains unsolved. Who killed Bugsy?
Comic books and graphic novels, including Nightmare World, Tales of Mystery, Made But Not Dead, all kinds of stuff. And I am super excited for you because you are getting to watch right now, right this moment, out of all the things we're really going to be doing, you're getting to enjoy and revel in the Madness Comic Network. And that is awesome. Thank you for being here.
Hey everybody, it's me, Wayne Clingman, Mr. Big. Let me dock my hat. And today we're taking a step back. One of the first show I should have done was introduce myself and how I got my started. Okay, let's do that now. My name is Wayne Clingman, aka Mr. Big. I live in Racine, Wisconsin, which is a suburb outside of Milwaukee, a good 20 miles away, between Chicago and Milwaukee. So when the city's burned this summer because of the conventions, my house will burn too because I'm right stuck mud in the middle of the two. Yeah, it won't be a lot of fun this summer. Was in sales most of my life. Never thought I would be a writer, mostly because between my learning disabilities and everything else, I never thought I'd ever be a writer. But what happened to make that occur was that my mother passed. And when she passed, I received a little bit of inheritance, which most of it was used to repair my 115 and 20-year-old home, which needed serious repair. We needed a new roof, we needed a new plumbing system, a lot of good stuff like that. And thankfully, with the money I had got left to myself, from my mom, I was able to undertake those repairs. I had left to do something. And I was talking to my good friend Jason Love, what should we be doing? We were talking about doing some type of documentary. And, what we're doing documentary. Well, we got in Milwaukee, we have Jeffrey Dahmer. And Wisconsin, Ed Gein. And Jason and I both horror fans. So it's debating those two things. But then we thought, something that many people don't know about is my guy Frank Bracey. His last name I just butchered. I don't use names because I don't know my own name right anymore. So we decided let's do a movie on Frank. So we did. Interesting thing about the movie on Frank, and doing the research to do the movie on Frank, we submitted freedom of information requests on Frank. And boy, did we get done. I think I got 1,200 pages back. Plus, it was already up online. It's something called The Vault that's held by the FBI that talk access. Anybody can go to it. All kinds of documentation on the guy Frank and all kinds of other mobsters and gangsters and crooks and all kinds of different things going on that the FBI was part of, investigated, whole 9 yards. It's quite the place. We had quite the resources we needed to do a movie. And we did the movie. The movie can be found on YouTube. Just look up Frank Bracey. I think you even find it under my name or Jason Love's name. Put that in the chat. And people can go and find here too. I know it's on Jason's YouTube channel. You can find all the stuff he's done. Not only Frank, but where's it going? Again. He did a few more mapsters. He also does a lot of stuff with autism because he has an autistic son. He wants people to be educated. Anyway, so you can find his videos there. The one we did, Frank, is there. Interesting thing about Frank in that backstory. Frank, God, we got a lot of information back in Frank. We got a ton of it. And sooner we thought, God, we had enough information on Frank to do a book. So we did. Most people do a book then a movie. I did it the other way. We did the movie first, then I used the film and those documentations that we had, and we did the book. Book came out about 6 years ago, and it was quite solid. So it's still okay. It doesn't sell as much as it did then. Does now as it did then. It still sells a few copies. And so I decided I really like writing because the ability of the internet and such a thing as hiring editors, I didn't necessarily have to know, they didn't have to be close to me. I was able to access them and get my stuff edited. And with KDP, which is an Amazon product, I was able to put my book in Amazon stores to be sold. Thank you. It was book to be sold. And I started writing other books as well. What I should have done is immediately follow Frank up with Adventures of Frank in Las Vegas, but We didn't. That's something we're doing now. Where second volume of that book is coming out now. But Frank can be bought. We did one in Frank. I did one in Serial Killers. I did one in Mysteries. Did one in UFO Cults. I did a couple of fiction novels. I tell you, some books sell okay. They do. Some books sell okay. Frank sells okay. The book on the Mafia, the book on the Buffalo Mafia sells really well today. The first book in the Skim is okay, right? But my fiction books suck. I think they're good. I think they're good. I really do. But obviously, the buying public did not think as much about them as I did. The same thing with my book on serial killers. Same thing with my book in UFO cults. And like some books will sell better than others. And what I learned, I always have to have that beaten in my head, is that you have to stay in your lane. My lane happens to be mafia stuff and gambling stuff. I wrote a series of books on Vegas table games, where craps, blackjack, Texas Hold'em, poker, and slots. Right. The idea, the basic rules that you utilize when you play the games. So you're not going to win more money than God. That's not going to happen. You're not going to ever win more money than God, right? But you can play longer. You can play more successfully if you follow the basic rules. No doubt about that one, right? Most people don't. Most people don't understand the importance of being taken using the player's card, because it will track your. The idea behind the player's card is the casino will track your play, and the more you play, the more nice things it'll give you to keep you playing. Sometimes other perks come along with it. Like you spend so much money on some casinos in Vegas, they'll give you stuff, right? That stuff adds up over time. All the things that come about when you use your player card, be it the MGM down in Vegas, or the Panama Casino in Milwaukee, they all base what they give you on the player's card now. So, the interesting thing too about the film, from it, is we started doing showings on that film. In fact, we put it on YouTube for free. You can watch again, on Jason Love's channel, you can watch that film for free. We put it in Prime, we put it on YouTube for free on YouTube, right? You need to pay a rental fee to get it in Prime. But boy, it was a popular film. None of that, when we started doing local showings, I had Frank's son, his living son, show up with a couple of his friends, right? And they gave us all kinds of help. That's Jason Love, myself. This is when we did a show in Racine. I think we had 300 people in the room, right? Usually when we did the things at the library, I think I had 5 people there that thought it was a success. We had well over 300 people there, right? We packed the place. And here comes Frank's son. And if I'm at the time in my 60s, he must have been in his mid-70s. So here we have an old retired gangster being obnoxious as possible. He's yelling, he's screaming, he's causing problems, right? He's making it hard for people to enjoy the film. So I took him to another room where he could sit and yell at me. And he used language I can only use to say is abusive and threatening, right, for a long time. I thought it was entertaining. I mean, he threatened me all day, all night. We had to see 2 old men fight in the middle of the hallway, probably, right? Worst case scenario. When we started threatening Jason Love, that would have been funny because Jason Love is all muscle. He's about 5'2", 5'3". He's 100% muscle. That would have been a short fight. But Frank finally calmed down. Frank's son, I can forget, I think it was Peter. He has 2. One, I always forget his first name. The guy finally calmed down and went in his merry way, and people enjoyed the film. Another thing about that showing was we had a guy, one of the viewers suffered a mild heart attack. So in the middle of the movie showing, we had to turn off the projector so the ambulance could show up and get the guy that was suffering his minor heart attack. He was okay out. But it was an exciting day. So here we thought we had a license, not necessarily to print money. We had to do coast to go showing, right? We had got an invitation from the Italian American Center up in Milwaukee to show the film. And we would fill that place easily, right? But then that invitation was rescinded. We later found out it was rescinded because one of Frank's children, like grandchildren, was also on the board of directors. The They want us to show that movie in Milwaukee. Because Frank, City of Milwaukee is going out of its way not to have anything to do with the name of Frank. Absolutely nothing. In fact, most of the buildings he owns have been demolished. His main operation headquarters, where he did his vending machines out of, is, I think, left and standing. It might be gone by now. When I drove by it a few years ago, it was still standing. But the way it's in Milwaukee is gentrifying everything they can lay their hands on, it's most likely gone by now. It's just sad because Milwaukee is going out of its way to destroy its history. The history of Frank is interesting in and of itself. Because you have a gangster that's in Milwaukee who is linked heavily into the Chicago outfit, linked heavily into what's going on in Rockford, and believe it or not, linked heavily in something they call the Vegas Skim. Frank was part of the Vegas Skim. The Milwaukee Mafia was a very important part of the Vegas Skim. If you remember the movie Casino, it starts off with the guy, their hero, the centerpiece. I don't call anybody in that movie a hero. The lead get blown out of his car. Yeah, they called Frank the Mad Bomber. They called Frank the Mad Bomber because it's alleged by many that he killed more than one of his opponents by car bombing. Yeah. So it makes a lot of sense that in real life, Frank Roosevelt was found out to be an informant. And my guy, Frank, knew at that time he was most likely going to go to jail. I think he went to jail in his late 60s for the last time. That he'd be spending significant time in jail. And at that stage, I can see when we upset to the point where you can order car bombing. But again, it's unalleged. He was never charged. In fact, that case is still unsolved, right? Frank did go to jail and get out a few years. He was able to die in his own bed in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I think it was 32, 33. He died peacefully in his own bed. He was no longer part of the mafia. He no longer could go to Vegas. He no longer could do any of that stuff he was known to do, right? But he died a free man in his own bed. His sons, we don't talk about the book. We purposely did not talk about the sons in the book because the book was about Frank. It was not about the kids, right? But his sons would get in trouble as well. The whole Milwaukee Mafia ceased to exist. Some people would say it still exists. It really doesn't. I mean, if there's anybody, there might be a guy that's in his 80s now, as the head. Do any Earls run the Mafia families? Yeah, any Earls can run them. In fact, in New York, we see old men run Mafia families. You see that in the city of New York. We've seen that in other cities around the country. Old men can do little things. Not going to Milwaukee. Not going to Milwaukee. Anything that goes on in Milwaukee is run out of Chicago. Chicago still has a very active, very powerful family going on there, right? Not so much the city of Milwaukee. We can find in Milwaukee drugs, which is controlled by the gangs, pay theft, which is controlled by the gangs, probably some white collar crime, which is controlled by anybody who wants to do the white collar crime, right? That's the thing. Anybody can be a criminal. You don't have to be part of the mafia to be a criminal, right? So is Milwaukee. Buffalo, it's interesting because Buffalo, New York, right now, which I have a book on, we're working on volume 2 of the Buffalo Mafia because it's very huge crime family going on there, right? Very huge. There's a trial going on there now where a former DEA agent is on trial for taking bribes from a mafia also. I'm sorry, the word mafia has not been able to use that trial. An accused organized crime figure, right? Accused. You'll see what goes on. The trial itself is to the jury, what's going on. It's been said, rumor has it, that all the jurors want to convict except for one holdout. And they don't know why the guy's holding out. There's notes been sent back and forth to the judge. People talking about, well, is it a real life holdout? Or is it like the Gotti stuff, right? The first time that John Gotti went to trial, he was going to be convicted by a holdout. And he later came to find known that sure was gotten to, right? Make something like that be going on in Buffalo. It's only one of 2 trials coming in. Because we got the DA agents on trial now. It's in the jury. In a couple of weeks, there's another trial going on with the owner of a strip club called Earls. He is on trial. The head of his security, which is the leader, who's also the leader of a motorcycle gang, the Outlaws, are also going to come up in the trial. Right? When that trial takes place, we might find out, before it takes place, the guys involved in the trial, the 2 people being charged, might also be charged with the death of a witness. That's the direction there. A young lady who flipped and testified to a grand jury would die after being given a drug laced with fentanyl. Now, the person who gave her the drug, right, says he had no idea on fentanyl. Now, I can guarantee you that happens all too often, because my daughter, too, died of fentanyl overdose. And at that time, I firmly believe that she was a heroin addict, and she didn't know that heroin was laced in fentanyl. Sadly, it does happen. Many, many drug addicts die of fentanyl addictions, right? Not knowing that the drug has been contaminated. That could easily be the case. But we also know that the girl who died also thought her life was in danger. So I also dig into that one, because you want to think that a witness who thinks his life's in danger, you want to put her in this protection. Well, come to find out that she was offered witness protection. I've been alleged that she wasn't offered witness protection, that she's hooked down, that she refused. Well, it's kind of hard to get witness protection if you refuse it, right? Then to get it again, once it's been refused, it jumps to a lot more hoops. And maybe that was in process, maybe that wasn't in process. But we'll know more when that trial starts. That trial should be up 6 weeks, 8 weeks, I'm thinking. But we'll see. Anything's up for grabs. Anything's for grabs. It's a long, strange case. It is a very long, strange case. In that book, in that case, the Buffalo mob came about because people in the city of Buffalo were so concerned what was the scene going on in the city of Buffalo that they sent me a letter asking me to look into it. Now, I'm some fat guy in Racine, Wisconsin. I'm some fat old man in Racine, Wisconsin. And people, because they listen to my podcast I've done off and 30 years, they listen to my podcast, they thought I was a person who could help them. I was a person who cared. And I do care. I wish I could do more to help other people. I truly, truly do. But they got me interested enough where I was able to take some documentation that they gave me, some research, and do the first volume of a series of volumes on the Buffalo map. We started with the background here. And we started with the background of that family. Went back in time, we looked at it from the beginning into recent events, right? The second volume, we'll be looking at the Farrell strip club itself, activities that was alleged to go on there. I think we'll be looking at some suspicious deaths. We have the death of the witness, which is a horrible, tragic thing to begin with. Years ago, we had the death of a priest who committed suicide, right? We have the suicide of a judge who was alleged to have committed suicide. Now, the judge jumped up in front of a train. He survived that train wreck. He was seeking to get back on the court, serve as a judge, before he decided to commit suicide again after the FBI raided his home. Now, he was also, for the trial, speaking of the Earls club owner, he's an unindicted co-conspirator. Why is it indicted? Not easily. You can't indict a dead person. You can't. You can't indict the dead. So he will have a trial. You can't put him on trial either. But I think his name will come up. I think the judge's name will come up. I think the dead priest's name will come up as well as part of the second trial. It's fascinating to me how crime still works in major cities in the United States. The more troubling aspect of this, the trial in Buffalo is going to build a $1 to $2 billion football stadium. Let me say this again. The city of New York, city of Buffalo, New York, they're going to build, they mean state, the city and the county, is going to build the Buffalo Bills a $1 to $2 billion football arena. And the city is undergoing major investigations to see if a mafia family, if organized crime family, is involved there. You think they wouldn't be looking into that way before they decided to invest that amount of money in the city? Because we all know what happens with the 5 families in the buildings in New York, with the cement industry, the windows, all the things that the mafia got its hands into. But you think, and more truly, as I read the documents, there's absolutely no concern, no oversight. Same thing with the Ray A coming into days in Las Vegas, a whole nother story. All the corruption that we saw, we could be seeing with the amount of money that gets spent like that. You'd think people would be looking into it. No, we believe that, let me phrase this, I've been told by people that would know, Buffalo Mafia family is also involved in healthcare fraud, telemarketing scams, cryptocurrency scams. They're involved in Vegas in different forms, right? I mean, the mafia is good at these things. You'd think that before I would spend that amount of money, I would have some safeguards installed. I don't know, that's me. Obviously, there can be some crime no matter what's going on. You can't protect the world. But some safeguards, more than there are. Oh, that's Buffalo. I mean, we also did a book called Like an Onion that's being repurposed by Critical Blast. We'll get to them in a second. Into a new version of that book. A little thicker, added some more stuff to it. We added some little cute illustrations on it. We're releasing that book as with the Buffalo Mafia, as well Frank Life and Times of Frank, because in such a way, because Critical Blast is a publisher, that we can get them to libraries, that we can get them to bookstores on Amazon. Libraries. So my local library will buy a book from Amazon. Why? Because they can't get a discounted rate. And Amazon doesn't discount books enough, so libraries will buy them. So by working with Critical Blast, who I can't say enough good things about, go Critical Blast, I'm able to have my books in libraries. I'm able to have my books in bookstores. I mean, simply having my book in Barnes & Noble. I mean, most people buy books on Amazon. They do. But people also buy books at Barnes & Noble. People also buy books at Walmart, Target, the local bookstore, whatever it might be. Right now, my books can be in those locations. The theory is because they're being in those local locations, I can sell more books. And now my job is not so much try to figure out how Amazon works, but figure out how to get people interested in my books to buy them. This is one of the reasons why I do this show. I'm thankful to Pops for letting me do this show twice a week, an half hour or so each time, to try to get people interested in my books. To get people to know a little bit more about me and my books, we're doing on Thursday something called Ask Me Anything. In the chat, I place my email. If you send me an email with a question on Thursday morning, I will answer them. It's Ask Me Anything. Ask me anything reasonable. Thank you. Don't ask me things like about my first marriage, because that's nobody's business. Stuff that's outside the norms, right? If you want to ask me a question about the Mafia in Milwaukee, I'm good for that. Ask me a question about the Chicago, I'm good for that. Buffalo, I'm good for that. What I'm thinking about all the other criminal investigations going on throughout time. What's going on in Vegas? Back in the day, what's going on in Vegas today? I do a show with Leo Silva, a retired DEA agent, on Thursdays. We're talking about the cartels. So you can ask me questions about the cartels. If I can't get you the answer to the cartels, if you ask me the question, I can answer it. I try to get the answer to you. I try to find the answer to your question, get you the information. So, also Critical Blast is reworking my gambling books. Milwaukee, Wisconsin, we have a casino, Indian casino. And they spent a young fortune in building a sports book and restarting their poker room. Gotta love it. I have gambling books. I do. There's a casino in Waukegan, another 40-minute drive away, right? They have a lot of gambling going on there. Sports books, they don't have a poker room yet. These books would be perfect to sell in the marketplace, right? The question I then have is, how do I do that? One of the reasons why we do this show, because people are interested in a book. Mostly comic books. This is mostly a comic book fan base. I get that, right? But I'm hoping to get people interested in my books again, be it in the Milwaukee Mafia, be it in Chicago, be it in Vegas, to buy my other books, right? Interact with me in other ways. I'd love to do a book on how to use a sports book. I don't know enough to do that myself. I would need help doing that. One thing we did come out with, working with someone called Wicked Conservative, is we did recently got done with the book. It's going to go on sale on the 15th. We all recently did a book on using magic, and gambling, where she talks about the theory of how magic would work, and if it's ethical or not, and the like. And I came up with the different charms and stuff that people could use. It's a short read. It's a short, interesting read to get you involved, interested in a subject. I'm thinking, to me, hey, magic, baby. Yeah. Little tiny things we can do. Like put a clove leaf in your left shoe, right? Make a mojo bag. I wouldn't go into mojo bag. But get a silver dime. Carry a $2 bill. Little tiny things, right? Have magical abilities to help you gamble better. I'm not saying you're going to win, because you're not. Because the casinos have something called the odds on their side. You have all the silver coins in the world, you have all the $2 bills that they can print, and the odds will win each and every time. The idea of doing a magical book to help you get that edge, help you be able to stay a bit longer, have a little bit more fun, right? Well, Critical Blast and I are repurposing my books I did on blackjack and craps and poker. And we're doing that so they can be sold in libraries, outside of bookstores, outside of Amazon, hopefully get people to buy them. And to look at some different other ideas to motivate people to be able to find them and use them as well. It'd be really nice if I can convince, say, the Milwaukee casino, that if everybody comes in that sends them a player card, a copy of my book, right? That would be great. Is that going to happen? Probably not. But you know what? It will not happen if I don't ask them. That's a guarantee. The answer would be absolutely no unless I ask them. Yeah. Yeah. He's right there. One of the things that we do talk about, and talk about again in those repurposed books, is know your limit. Stick to your limit. Talk about targets, such things as, when I go to the casino in Milwaukee, I take my good friend Paul with me. With a set amount of time we're going to go there for. With a set amount of money that we take to spend, we go there knowing that we're going to go walk out of there we go there for an hour. What we have left, we leave left with, right? If we're to the good, fantastic. If we're broke, who cares? That's the amount of money we came with to lose. That's why when you go to Vegas, when you go to the Potawatomi, right, you have the ability to tip your dealer. If you're playing a table game, please tip your dealer, because these men and these girls are working for minimum wage, hourly wage, in tips. That's not a lot of money unless you tip them. They put up a lot of shit during the day. Let's not be the asshole that loses even 6 of their time, right? And can't tip them a couple bucks, right? Me, I know when I go to Vegas and I go to Hooters, I know, and Hooters come back from Milwaukee, and getting back from Chicago with a shoot with Jason, we went to Hooters. And I know that I was going to be the typical old guy, because I'm an old guy, right? And so the first girl came up to us to see us, I gave her 20. When any other waitresses came up to me to say anything, say, "Hi, Mr. Clingman, how you doing?" I gave them a 20, right? Because they were providing me with entertainment. The least I can do is tip them. The least I can do is tip them, right? Little tiny things go a long ways. So we might be doing a gambling show. I got somebody in mind to do a gambling show with. In fact, I reached out to them, follow up on that phone call I did a couple weeks ago. But that's all we want to do. Again, 25. Email. Send me an email with your questions. I'll answer them next Thursday, 8 o'clock. Please. Easy way hold me easy questions. Again, if I can't answer that question, I'll try my best to get that answer for you and get back with you with that answer. I want to thank Doc and Critical Blast and everybody else for making this opportunity happen for me. I really appreciate it. And please check out Life and Times Frank, which a link is here at the bottom of the page, I believe. It's new. It's been out there, be published by Critical Blast. Yeah, good times. Good times for us all. And remember, the mafia you save could easily be in the family that you love. That's it. Talk to y'all later. Appreciate it. Bye.
An ancient darkness is breaking through into our reality. The overlords are coming. They're demons united. They'll stop at nothing to tear our world to shreds. And the only thing that can stop them is the power of metal. You have been chosen by the gods of metal to lead this crusade of finger-shredding fury. You must write the sick riffs, craft the awesome lyrics, find unholy rhythms, and set the heads banging. Show the overlords that their darkness is nothing compared to yours. Gods of Metal is a co-op deck-building game for 1 to 4 players. You and your bandmates must work to create the most powerful band in human history. Find mystical instruments of legend, outlandish costumes to improve your powers, and recruit mascots to help you battle the overlords. Find the power of pure decibels and use them to destroy your enemies by crafting songs that will literally blow their minds. Form a band. Save the world. Gods of Metal. Now on Kickstarter.
Mr. Chris, what up? Also, Christgau from rock and roll band Five Finger Death Punch. Heard that you're about to launch your newest board game, Gods of Metal, where you take on the persona of different metal musicians to stop the overlords and their demons from taking over reality. I think I know a metal musician that can help you fight those overlords and those demons. That is me, Christgau. So, shout out to you, Chris. Shout out to all of the Laughing Rogue crew. And shout out to Gods of Metal. I will be in there taking over reality from the demons and the overlords. Christgau. Just like it says there on my hat, in case I forget. I do play bass.
The future. The final frontier. It has never been so uncertain as now. AI, VR, haptic wear, nanotechnology, mass destruction with a remote click. Now we are finally seeing the true potential and dangers of an ever-connected and overly policed hyper-technological world. Have we finally become the architect of our own demise? Is there still hope? Welcome to the future. Welcome to Punk Droid.
Just back it already.
How do you end this thing? How do you put the where's the brakes on this bus? I forgot.
Jazz
how to drive.
hands. Jazz hands and brakes.